The CBC Headline News, brought to you by Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network.
Predictions of an implosion in the BLP soon. The AG has his say on clients who can't afford an attorney. And coming up in sports, veteran sports administrator Steve Stout to step down from the BOA.
The CBC Headline News, brought to you by Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Shane Jones with the Wednesday, October 26th edition of the CBC Evening News. In our top story, Prime Minister Frondell Stewart left the island today to participate in a number of events being hosted by the High Commission in London to celebrate Barbados' 50th anniversary of independence. The members of his delegation are Permanent Secretary in the Prime Minister's Office, Sonja Welch, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Cecile Humphrey, and Executive Personal Assistant Yvette King. Mr. Stewart will attend a reception tomorrow at Lancaster House, where he will engage with the Barbadian diaspora in the United Kingdom, the diplomatic community, and Friends of Barbados. On Friday, he will visit Keble College, Oxford University, where he will join officials at a commemoration ceremony to recognize the outstanding service of the late Sir James Cameron Tudor, KCMG, one of the Caribbean's most influential diplomats and politicians. Democratic Labour Party General Secretary George Pilgrim is predicting an implosion within the opposition Barbados Labour Party in the coming days. In response to a question about the process of the DLP's candidate nomination, the General Secretary said they have not yet begun selection, but noted that there is a stark contrast between the two parties in that regard. He contends that the ruling DLP is secure in its leadership, while the opposition is not.
I guarantee that when October comes in the Barbados Party, you're going to have a trilogy of leaders. Mark my word. You're going to have a trilogy of leaders.
November?
October. Red October. There will be a coup.
So that's in the next few days then?
Today is the, what's the day?
26th.
Today 26th. In 4 days, and less of on, a Red October will take place. Where you will see at least 3 leaders emerging for the Barbados Party's conference. That party is in crisis with who should lead it. It has not been resolved since the last Prime Minister leader on that. The truth will come out after October. Stay tuned.
If the Attorney General and Minister of Home Affairs has his way, people brought before the courts who cannot afford an attorney will not be allowed to choose the lawyer they want. Adriel Brathwaite says it is one of the issues causing delays in the criminal justice system. He was speaking during a panel discussion to mark Crime Awareness Month.
Is it most reasonable to allow the system to be hijacked and allow an inmate to sit down on remand where he does little or nothing other than create problems because he says, I only want John Brown to represent me? And he knows also that if he's convicted, that time spent on remand is time spent. So as far as he's concerned, he has a good thing going. So do you allow them to hijack the system, or do you do what I'm proposing to, which is change the system to allow, here is a pool, you choose someone, or you go before the judges and then they decide whether or not they will assign someone to you.
Turning his attention to policing, the Attorney General says he is more in favor of officers having specialist skills rather than the force having more special units.
The average constable that you employ will not have the skills to deal with cybercrime. And it's going to be, whether we like it or not, it's going to be a specialist area. And as time goes by, there'll be additional specialist areas. So the need to develop these units will certainly, from where I sit and from where I stand, will not decrease. But what you might want to do is to ensure people are able to multitask and give them different skills, etc., etc. I try to ensure that in fact that we train as many people as possible so that there's a wider skill set to choose from.
With just 5 days until the close of this year's sea egg season, fisherfolk are voicing their concerns about what they are calling a poor 2016 harvest. Although there are several theories behind the fall-off, many agree that a change in the month assigned for harvesting could make a difference. Denise Blackman reports.
It was described as the worst sea egg season in a long time by one St. John fisherman who joined other fisherfolk across the island in expressing disappointment at this year's harvest. The harvest is said to be a lot less this year in terms of both quantity and quality. Vernell Nichols, who's president of the Barbados National Union of Fisherfolk Organizations, says complaints are so bad they are proposing a new month for harvesting, September instead of October.
They were saying that the season wasn't very good. They were disappointed because there wasn't as much sea egg as they would have had last year. The fisherfolk believe that the season should go back to September because during October the weather changes and usually have a lot of rough seas and high seas, and in some cases they are unable to go out as far as they would normally go to dive. So they felt that the season this year wasn't good at all.
But fisherman Osglo at Consett Bay in St. John says moving the season to September, as was done in years past, won't solve the problem. He instead believes it's up to the fishermen themselves to respect the diving regulations of whichever month is assigned, as they used to do before.
Start fishing in August, start diving in September. At the end of September, all fishermen start dive sea eggs and prepare the boat for the fishing season. But that ain't the case now. That ain't the case. Everybody diving it before the time and they're getting less and less sea eggs.
Ms. Nichols was recently elected chairman of the Caribbean Network of Fisherfolk Organizations, the regional body led by leaders of national organizations. She says over the last 9 years, the network has worked to give fisherfolk a voice at national, regional and international levels, and she will continue to speak on their behalf. And regarding our local fishermen, she says Barnufa will meet officially with the Chief Fisheries Officer to propose a change in our sea egg season. Denise Blackman, CBC News.
Thanks, Denise. Minister of the Environment, Dr. Dennis Lowe, says garbage collection is a service that should be left to the state. And he says if garbage collection is privatized, householders will have to pay.
Let me make that clear. Government ain't gonna subsidize it. That's why we believe that garbage collection in Barbados is best kept in the hands of the state. Because the state sees it not as a commercial endeavor, the state sees it as an essential social service. And the study talks about that. The study talks about that. So that we believe that we must ourselves we cannot become a throw. Every single thing we throw away. We've become a throwaway society. And sometimes people throw away so many things that sometimes they have to go back and check because they realize they threw away the wrong thing.
Dr. Lowe also commended the staff of the Sanitation Service Authority for their work despite the challenges.
We have competent workers in the SSA. The challenge of the SSA is not the workers. And therefore, there's no notion that should go abroad that the government of Barbados is trying to ditch 600 workers and privatize the institution, because once you privatize the SSA, it now becomes a commercial activity. Because nobody's going to buy the SSA. I hear somebody talk about buying the SSA and then giving back the government a little trawler. You know, and sometimes you sit down and you'd rather hear your dog come and sit down and belch than to hear some of the rubbish that some people are talking.
Well, Mr. Lowe also said that despite the country's recent water woes, Barbadians are still wasting too much water. He says his ministry has been researching a new device that would save households and businesses water.
I know that the Ministry of the Environment, in conjunction with the Ministry of Housing and the EPD and the Town Planning Department, are looking now at how to use water collected from roofs into tanks for toilet flushing purposes to save some of the domestic drinking water. And I believe that we are very close to rolling out that program. Now we're in your house, rather than using your metered water to flush the toilet and water the gardens and the plants and so on, you can use that system to look after those needs.
Opposition Member of Parliament Dwight Sutherland is accusing government of continually disrespecting the island's trade unions. The St. George South MP says the latest example is government's handling of outsourcing at the Sanitation Service Authority. He was speaking during the debate in the lower house on a motion for Parliament to accept the Barbados Green Economy Scoping Study as a national information document.
The Democratic Labour Party continues to disrespect the trade unions in this country. And when you can seek to engage private waste haulers without having any consultation with the unions and without engaging your workforce, tell me how this document or greening in that area is contributing to social equity and human well-being.
A company known for innovation in its product offering and how it does business is the latest guardian of the heritage. Veteran radio announcer Tony Thompson welcomed Caribbean ARI on board the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation's project this morning, saluting the company for the work it has done over the years.
Innovation is creativity, and the experience of the initiative here with the flag raising and all that, it says that there is vision, there is creativity. And for the next 50 years, we're going to need vision and creativity, because we know the age-old adage, where there is no vision, a nation perishes. So welcome to our initiative.
And Tony McDonald, General Manager of Caribbean ARI, says the company is pleased to be on board with the initiative. She explains that Caribbean ARI is a joint venture company with two shareholders, Caribbean International Airways Limited from Barbados and Arianta International, an Irish travel retail company. Ms. McDonald says the stores have special offers for the independence period.
There's plenty of promotional activity in store, and as a special we are giving away prizes, gifts and shopping vouchers to every 50th customer in our shops every day throughout November. We're also inviting our customers to cross off the dates in our big celebratory countdown calendar. The special focus in store is our Pride and Industry gondola, where we are featuring a superb range of local products, all made in Barbados, and there are lots of opportunities for our customers to try and taste these wonderful products.
Okay, we'll take a short break here, and when we come back, kudos for a government minister.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153 to sign up to Digicel today.
Simplify your life with a 30-day loan from Axel Finance. Yes, it's that kind of loan you've been waiting for forever. 30 days to pay back with zero interest. Just the right loan for those small moments when you're low on cash but have small but urgent obligations. No more hassle, no more waiting in line. Same-day approval, because you need cash now. So get it now. Your 30-day zero interest loans from Axel Finance. Call us and visit us today. 228-8222. Terms and conditions apply.
Parliamentary Representative for St. James South, Donald Innes, is the latest Barbadian to be honored by the Citizens of Barbados Rewards and Recognition Committee. This morning, the group, along with the students and staff of the West Terrace Primary School, recognized his efforts with a surprise ceremony. Lisa Broom has that story.
Cheers and screams filled the West Terrace School Hall for the man of the hour, Donald Innes. The students paid tribute to the government minister in song dance, and poetry.
You have been our patron for many years, and we can always rely on you to help us in any way you can. You are indeed deserving of our honor and respect. We do love and appreciate you always.
Chairman of the Citizens of Barbados Rewards and Recognition Committee, Bernard Connell, says Mr. Innes is one of 50 people which the group is honoring. He also highlighted Mr. Innes's achievements as a government minister and as a parliamentary representative.
At the constituency level, Mr. Innes has contributed to tangible infrastructural developments, including roads, sidewalks, improved lighting, debushing, bulk waste collection drives, and improved recreational spaces, including an expansive playing field right here at the West Terrace Primary School.
And Mr. Innes was blown away by the tributes. He was actually left speechless.
I am shedding a tear inside because, you know, for all of my years as a public officer and as a community-minded person, whatever I've done because I genuinely believe it needed to be done and because I believe I could make a difference. And I've always done that without seeking any rewards or acknowledgement whatsoever.
The students say they've noticed Mr. Innes's efforts over the past 8 years in the constituency.
I firstly salute you today for your thoughtfulness, generosity, and kindness in every way.
Lisa Boone, CBC News.
Well, you've heard the infamous stories about Glenderry Prison that housed perhaps Barbados' most notorious criminal, Winston Hall. But for the first time on October 29th, Barbadians can see his prison cell firsthand, plus learn of the inner workings of the prison and the life of inmates. This opportunity comes as the Barbados Prison Service hosts an open day and gala as part of its decommissioning, when Glenderry will officially be returned to the Ministry of Housing and Lands. Acting Sergeant Anderson Lynch promises an eye-opening experience.
You'll see things like they handing over the keys and stuff, and then how the past prison officers and the system how it used to operate, and then they get the whole idea of the gallows and the cells and how the prisoners were being treated and that type of stuff. So the whole concept of what was imagined by members of the public, they would actually get the chance to see, live what actually was happening at that point in time.
Along with the tours, there will be a gala showcasing local performers and entertainment by male and female inmates. Head of Sentence Management at the Barbados Prison Service, Lena Weeks-Phillips, says this forms part of the rehabilitation efforts of the inmates who also enroll in the prison's drama and music programs. And she says the feedback for what could be the final open day at Glenderry Prison has been positive.
People are fascinated, they're intrigued. People have been calling to find out exactly what they're going to see on the tour. Will I get to see Winston Hall's cell? Will I get to see the gallows? Will I get to see maximum security? All of these different things will be included in the package. It's for the kids, jumping tents, fun rides, tattoo artists, face painting, and so on. And then we have food and art as well as craft on sale. We also have our famous prison bread on sale at that point in time as well. And we're inviting the public. The admission is free, and you can, for $10, go on the tour of Glenderry.
Disaster emergency planners take three main factors into consideration when ordering a national shutdown in times of emergency. The first, according to disaster risk management specialist Clive Lord, is the likely time that a system will impact the island. And in the case of Tropical Storm Matthew, which struck the island last month, it was around midnight.
Backing up, therefore, from that point, it was discussed as to what will we do with schools, children. It was agreed that children would go to school as per normal till 2:30 closed down or 3 o'clock closed down, but no after-school activities. The primary reason being that we knew if schools were closed, then we were going to close early. We're going to begin to pull staff out of agencies. The final considering factor in making a call for shutdown was based on Transport Board.
The disaster risk management specialist was one of the panelists at a breakfast meeting of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The role of the private sector in managing disaster was discussed. Mr. Lord also clarified who is considered essential services.
How many of you have staff who travel by bus? If you have staff who travel by bus and you normally shut at 10 o'clock, and you don't, how many of you have provision to get them home? If you don't have provision to get them home, then they must travel by the last bus. Therefore, even though you are an essential service, your staff who are going to be exposed and vulnerable needs to be part of the consideration to be able to close down.
Her goal is to live to be 103. Well, today, Louise Paris is 1 year closer to that, reaching the milestone as she celebrated her 100th birthday. Governor General Sir Elliot Belgrave visited her at Alicia's Senior Citizens Home in St. Philip to offer his congratulations and present her with several gifts. Joining the celebrations were Louise's only child, Theo Paris, and his wife Phyllis, as well as her nephews Colton and Frank Jessamy. Also present was the centenarian's great-niece, Lisa Jessamy, who shared some fond memories.
I remember Louise Paris as a very strict individual, a lady who we always refer to as the Queen. I can remember the days of, having to be all well-dressed, waiting for her arrival, and having that utmost respect for her whenever she visits.
Still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region. But before we get there, here's a tip from Coverley Medical Center.
Regular breast and pelvic examinations are important, especially if you have a family history of cancer. So, have you booked your next annual checkup?
Court's Pot of Gold is back with 2